According to the APA, Mexico's foreign ministry stated that while the nation is closely monitoring BRICS developments, it has not submitted an application to join. In response to media reports that Mexico wants to join BRICS this year, the ministry wrote on its X account that Mexico has not asked for admission to BRICS. The country is closely following the association's development, bearing in mind the economic weight of its member nations and bilateral relations the country is maintaining with its members. Before we go any further, though, if you're enjoying this briefing, do consider supporting this channel by hitting the like and subscribe buttons below. This will help YouTube understand your preferences and allow you to be notified whenever a new video is released. I'm grateful. Now, let's move forward. However, there is now tension between the two nations amid recent Republican plans for military action in Mexico's drug battle. Foreign meddling will not be tolerated, according to Mexican President Andrés Obrador, who referred to such proposals as irresponsible. Consequently, the Mexican government has rekindled its interest in becoming a member of BRICS, which may eventually cause commercial and diplomatic issues with the United States. With a substantial GDP and purchasing power, Mexico is the second biggest economic power in Latin America and an essential entry point to the North American market. Mexico and the US have maintained a friendly relationship despite divergent views on immigration and commerce, which has been advantageous to both parties. The two nations commemorated 200 years of diplomatic connections in December 2022, which have included trade, cultural, and educational exchanges. Last week, Mzuvukal Jeff Makatuka, South Africa's ambassador to Russia, announced that 25 more nations are prepared to join the BRICS. According to Eurasia Network, Mexico is one of the 25 nations that have indicated a desire to join the BRICS alliance. The unlawful border crossings that led to an increase in tensions with the US have sparked interest in joining the bloc. Border security, drug cartels, illicit commerce, illegal immigration, and human rights violations are the main points of contention between the United States and Mexico. As a result of the events, the US threatened to stop giving aid to Mexico and put tariffs on Mexican imports. Mexico now wants to join BRICS in order to protect itself from US economic threats in the midst of rising tensions. Mexico has shown interest in becoming a member of the BRICS alliance and challenging the US. Mexico may become the first member of BRICS and become the first nation from South America. Additionally, it will be the US's first close neighbor to join BRICS this year. The envoy of South Africa said that there were close to 25 countries who indicated that they are ready to join BRICS. Nonetheless, the agreement of all the member nations will determine which new nations are admitted. The next conference in October of this year is most likely where the BRICS expansion will be decided. It's unclear if Mexico will be admitted to BRICS and be permitted to participate in decision-making. Rising US-Mexico ties only serve to highlight BRICS as the bloc's safe haven. This is thought to be related to recent cartel murders of US Americans close to the US border, which have strained ties between Mexico and the US. This tragedy has been used as justification by a few Republican members of the US House of Representatives to demand US military action, including the possibility of invading Mexico to take on the cartels. Mexican President Andrés Obrador responded by calling the initiative irresponsible and declaring that his country would not allow an outside force to become involved. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa form the BRICS economic alliance. Mexico has shown a renewed interest in joining the group as a result of these persistent calls for US military action. The US Congress may become more circumspect in its dealings and pronouncements towards Mexico internationally as a result of the BRICS alliance, despite the fact that it would primarily be economic in nature. Additionally, Mexico's foreign contacts may become more diverse and its worldwide influence may grow. The BRICS group has indicated that it may grow by 5 nations in 2023, despite the fact that it lacks official standards for processing or accepting new members. Mexico is well positioned to be one of the possible 5 expansion countries because it has already attended multiple BRICS conferences as a guest and observer. Although Mexico's entry into BRICS could benefit the country economically and internationally, the US may be concerned. Russia and China, 2 economic and political opponents with strong ties to Mexico, have the potential to affect US policy toward Mexico going forward and to facilitate their access to the US market. China and Mexico enjoy a robust trading connection, as evidenced by China's substantial investments in Mexico throughout the previous 5 years. Between January 2022 and August 2022, Chinese exports to Mexico increased by 28%, becoming China the country's second largest import partner after the United States. More than 1,200 Chinese businesses, including Ganfeng Lithium, which was given access to a lithium mine in Sonora, have made investments in Mexico. Prioritizing a nationalized firm over concessions to the mine's lithium reserves, President Obrador ultimately decided to ease the approval process for Ganfeng, resulting in a win-win outcome. Ore made up more than half of Mexico's $9.08 billion in exports to China in 2021. If Mexico were accepted into BRICS, the value of its ore exports may rise much higher. Mexico and China have a good trading relationship, but Mexico has taken a neutral political stand toward China. Nonetheless, Mexico has voiced concerns about China's human rights policies, particularly in relation to how Uyghur Muslims are treated in Xinjiang. Mexico was one of 39 nations who signed a united statement of the UN in 2020 expressing concern over how Uyghur Muslims were being treated and asking impartial observers to look into the situation in Xinjiang. Mexico and China have remained friendly in spite of this, and trade has not suffered. Russia and Mexico have established a robust economic partnership, with Mexico being Russia's third largest Latin American trading partner. Cooperation in the oil and gas industries is the foundation of the partnership. Rosatom International and Gazprom Marketing and Trading Mexico are two Russian multinational corporations that have made investments in Mexico. While Rosatom is a state-owned nuclear energy corporation engaged in the development and construction of nuclear power plants in Mexico, Gazprom is a state-owned energy firm that sells and distributes natural gas. Mexico has not placed any sanctions on Russia, in contrast to the US. Since Mexico established diplomatic ties with the Soviet Union in 1924, the two nations have had a positive relationship. Mexico was the first country in the Americas to do so. Their partnership has always been centered on collaboration and the development of energy and technology. Russia is now the second strongest force in Latin America after Brazil, thanks to the favorable political and economic ties between Mexico and Russia. Investments made by Gazprom and Rosatom in Mexico have improved the two nations' economic relations and sparked collaboration in the fields of energy and technological development. Mexico is deepening its trading connections with China and Russia, but it is also reaching out to the other members of the BRICS group. Positive diplomatic ties as well as a bilateral trade collaboration spanning several industries, such as international security, climate change mitigation, and sustainable energy, exist between Mexico and India. Although it is not as strong as its ties with the other BRICS countries, Mexico does have some bilateral commerce with South Africa. The two nations enjoy cordial diplomatic ties and have worked together on climate change mitigation initiatives and peacekeeping missions. The two most powerful economies in Latin America, Brazil and Mexico, have a long history of trade and diplomatic ties. To increase their economic vigor, they have even looked into the possibilities of a free trade pact. Despite the diplomatic differences about globalization, especially with regard to Venezuela and Colombia, the two countries have always collaborated to uphold economic stability. Although Mexico has long-standing ties with each of the BRICS countries, its main trading partners are China, Russia, and Brazil. Becoming a member of BRICS would strengthen these alliances and maybe cause one of these countries to surpass the United States as Mexico's main trading partner. China and Russia have been investing more in Mexico, especially in the fields of energy, technology, and minerals. Mexico is developing its nuclear power capabilities with assistance from Russia's state-owned Rosatom International, which could become increasingly problematic if Mexico enters the BRICS. It would cause the US authorities to wonder why a Russian corporation so near to the US has access to nuclear power. By removing the dollar as an intermediary currency and allowing Brazil and India to trade in their own currencies, China has been gradually trying to devalue the dollar. China might attempt to get Mexico to join the BRICS, so boosting the value of their own currency and reducing the economic viability of the USD. But Mexico's biggest trading partner is the US, and it wouldn't want to take a chance on damaging that relationship. The US Congress might be more circumspect in its remarks against Mexico if the BRICS were to become members, especially if such remarks implied an invasion to topple the cartels. Mexico's economy would suffer from a US invasion, which would then affect China and Russia. As long as the United States does not perceive the BRICS alliance as an imminent threat to its national security, Mexico's membership in the group would give it an additional layer of security and guarantee that the US will treat it with respect. In order to motivate us to continue giving you stuff like this, do remember to like and subscribe to our channel. I hope this briefing was able to provide you with some relevant information. And with that, we wrap things up for the time being. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.